We are going to just roll right in to our next presenter, which is Heidi Kalbe. She's presenting Run Before You Walk, Lead Your Dashboard Design Game. So Heidi is, she is a self-taught Tableau user and a former software developer. She, right out of university, got into business intelligence consulting at the Information Lab, and she's a Tableau evangelist. She's trained over 130 new Tableau users all over Germany. So I want to welcome to TFF, Heidi.
Hi, everyone. Can you hear me okay?
Perfect.
All right, thanks. So I just wanted to use the opportunity to have everybody have a face to go with a voice, because you're going to listen to me for the next half hour. And also give a shout out to Emily and Cesar and Alex. Thank you so much for organizing this event. It's really cool to be able to have the opportunity to give back and contribute to the Tableau community. And also thank you to Playfair Data for sponsoring TFF North America. All right, I'll pull up my screen. Perfect. So thanks for the intro. Emily already said a couple of words about me. I've been using Tableau for the past 1.5 years now, and have been working with the Information Lab Germany for the past 15 months. Yeah, and I've come across a lot of dashboarding projects, dashboarding questions. So I just wanted to talk a little bit about some best practices I found with dashboarding. In the past years, the hype around data has been immense and has been and still continues to be on a steep rise. Plenty of buzzwords have been buzzing all around us, for lack of a better word. And one of the most prominent amongst them is self-service business intelligence. With these buzzwords so seemingly important nowadays, and with a great number of data visualization tools on the market, one would expect that people are ready for the real deal. But then you sit them in front of a dashboard and they may feel overwhelmed or even clueless. What should they be able to see in the dashboard? Is there a need to interact? If yes, how so? Should they decide anything based on that dashboard? Should they just print it out and hand the issue over to somebody else to worry about? We may have seen a rise in data visualization, but that does not necessarily mean that we are experiencing a rise in data literacy. But what is data literacy, and why do we need it? And what is this self-service BI stuff that everyone is talking about? So many people are talking the talk, but are they prepared to walk the walk? Are you? Let's start at the beginning. In the beginning, there was reporting. Reporting, by definition, is the process of producing statements that disclose an organization's status to management, investors, and the government. When we talk about reporting, this usually means standard reporting. Balance sheets, income statements, cash flow statements, you name it. Often these statements used to be compiled using Microsoft Excel, and often they still are being compiled using Microsoft Excel. If your company has an enterprise resource planning system in place, these standard reports may be automated using that ERP system's finance modules to then be exported to Microsoft Excel at a later point. A process, as the definition mentions, is usually something that can be automated. And with many reports, you do need the exact same numbers every quarter or every month, or however often they may be required. But what if your numbers show an outlier, an unexpected spike, or an unexpected decline? Can you easily find the reasons for that in a standard report? No, you can't, because your standard report is pretty standardized, as the name says. And as such, it doesn't easily lend itself to questions it wasn't originally designed for. you are going to find that you need something more than standard reporting. You need business intelligence. Business intelligence, or BI, by definition, is a technology-driven process for analyzing data and presenting actionable information to help executives, managers, and other corporate end users make informed business decisions. When talking speed, standard reporting is a snail. A snail is slow but steady. It's reliable in the way that it carries its shell. And with that shell, it carries the weight of reports that are regularly required. So a snail is good to have, but you wouldn't exactly put your money on it in a race. You would need something faster. A hound, for example. Business intelligence is that hound. So let's say you notice a decline in sales back in September, but you can't really do anything about it now, well, after the fact. So you suggest sending weekly reports instead of quarterly for faster reactions. But frankly, your management doesn't have the time to look through weekly reports. So what do? You have a question and you're looking for an answer. We are living in a time where data is all around us, so your path from question to answer will obviously lead through the huge amounts of data your company is acquiring. People say that data is the new oil, and they aren't wrong. But same as you wouldn't fuel your car with raw oil, you wouldn't make any data-driven decisions based on pure raw data. So you need to refine that data. You need data analysis. Analysis in and of itself, however, is still not quite the way to go. Instead of millions of numbers as you would have in your raw data, using data analysis, you would end up with many numbers. So many is better than millions, but in order to quickly absorb those many numbers, you need something else. You need data visualization. But what is data visualization? Data visualization is a way to represent data that allows people to understand data more easily. Exactly what we need. Data visualization will give you insights at a glance, so that you can look at a viz and simply read the answers to your questions, right? Let's say you build your dashboard. It contains beautiful graphs, it's easy to understand, or so you think, and people can interact with it. It's brilliant, really. But looking at your user stats, you find that nobody actually looks at that dashboard. Maybe they used to in the beginning, but now the stats are declining. Why? There is this thing called data literacy. Data literacy is the ability to derive meaningful information from data, just as literacy in general is the ability to derive information from the written word. Would you give a Leo Tolstoy to a 6-year-old just learning to read? I guess not. So let's take your colleagues who have never been confronted with anything other than those huge Excel sheets, you know, those wall of numbers kind of Excel sheets. And would you sit them in front of a Marimekko chart with a gazillion parameters and filters? I hope not. And in case some of you have never heard of a Marimekko chart before, that is exactly my point. Now, I'm not trying to say that people can't handle or can't read dashboards in general. Data visualization aims at simplifying the understanding of data, and it will do exactly that. But it is important that you recognize and consider what complexity level of visualization your consumers can handle. Data literacy for you as a dashboard designer constitutes the need to build the right dashboard for the right audience. You may assume that your dashboard is simple to read, but if a consumer is not as used to consuming visualizations as you are, they may beg to differ. There is not the single dashboard out there perfect for everyone. Different users will have different needs, different interests, and above all, different levels of data literacy. As it is, you need to understand how your audience reads data before you know how to write data. In literature, one party always has to do the work, either the reader or the writer. In literature, it is generally considered bad writing style if you make your reader do the work for you. In data visualization, however, this may actually be a valid option. There's two paths you can take here. Either you create the dashboards that will answer your consumers' questions at a glance. Those are called explanatory dashboards. Compact information, barely any work for the reader in this scenario. And the task of bringing this information to the forefront is on you, the dashboard designer. You, as the creator, are the runner, and the consumer is waiting at the finish line, ready to high-five you. The other road, however, would be meeting your consumers halfway down the track. You leave the dashboards open for exploration, so-called exploratory dashboards, and you give the users some leeway to interact with the information you offer in order for them to hunt down exactly those facts they are looking for. This way, the user, or reader, if you will, has to work for their insights. So far, we have been assuming that the path from question to answer is a one-way road. But let's consider this. Your question is, how do my subcategories perform looking at sales and profit? Your dashboard designer comes up with something like this. Now, this does answer the question you had originally. How do my subcategories perform looking at sales and profit? It does tell you that phones and chairs are doing great and that tables are somewhat lacking. And immediately you come up with the next question. What is wrong with my tables? But the dashboard doesn't answer that because that's not the question it was originally designed for. Instead of considering data visualization a one-way road, you should think of it as a cycle. You start with a question, analyze the data, then visualize that analysis, and the visualization will answer your original question. But when viewing and possibly interacting with the viz, you come up with new questions, and the cycle starts anew. We call this the cycle of visual analytics. Answers will raise new questions, and this is where standard reporting will fail you. Those standard reports are built for specific questions each, and as soon as the answers to those questions raise new questions, the reports have outlived their momentary usefulness. And this is something that you cannot easily automate, since humans define the questions, and those questions are ever-changing. It is humans who will need to answer those questions as well. There is this saying, when the gun goes off, you're either creating dust or eating dust. In a world of constant competition, you wouldn't want to start into your data race with a snail, such as standard reporting. Snails do have their time and place, but you'll agree with me when I say that it's definitely not in competitive running. You don't want to eat dust, you want to create it. So why content yourself with a snail then? Why even content yourself with a hound when what you need is a cheetah? Why would you walk if you could simply run? Imagine people were able to ask and answer their own questions. Imagine they could do so in a timely manner and act or react accordingly. Imagine people given the power of ad hoc analysis, where employees could analyze their department's data and create their own reports. This is what we call self-service business intelligence. By definition, self-service BI is an approach to data analytics that enables business users to access and work with corporate data, even though they do not have a background in statistical analysis, business intelligence, or data mining. If you consider business intelligence a hound, self-service BI is your cheetah. Self-service BI will empower users to make data-driven, actionable decisions based on their own analysis. It will free up your BI and IT teams from the majority of reporting tasks, and it will allow them to focus on other tasks that will help your organization reach its goals. And your business users may not be super tech savvy, but with an intuitive user interface and user-friendly navigation, such as Tableau has to offer, they will be able to create personalized reports with very little effort. I mentioned exploratory data analysis earlier, and this is what self-service BI is all about, allowing users free rein over their share of data and setting them no limits within their limited space. I will assume that all of you have heard of the following quote. Let me change that a little bit for you. With great freedom comes great responsibility. For business users, it may be scary to suddenly have all those opportunities at their disposal. Or maybe they don't have the time to immerse themselves in Tableau. Or maybe they are simply not that interested in anything more than the desk job they are used to having. In any case, they may not bother with the effort that comes with exploratory data analytics. You will always be left with the question of who visualizes and who consumes. Self-service BI will have more people working with data than before, but it is likely that not everyone will be jump-starting on the track to better data analysis. Not everyone is a runner. It is rather more likely that there will be key users to explore their data with the use case specific knowledge that pure BI or IT colleagues would not have. They will be your explorers. Other employees will be content to simply consume those finished dashboards, staying safely on the reading side of data visualization. Not everybody is a natural writer or runner, if you will, and that is okay. Now, while you are racing ahead with your newfound powers of self-service BI, there's still the challenge of getting your consumers to meet you at the finish line. So how can you improve user acceptance? Let's consider the general setting. First of all, your users need to trust the data source, and they need to be interested in the topic you are presenting. In a business context, neither of these should hopefully be a big problem. What might require more work on your part is choosing which perspective to take and in which medium to present and publish your findings. C-level executives might be happy with an overview dashboard of quarterly figures that they can comfortably consume on their tablets, while project leaders, on the other hand, need more frequent numbers that they can dive into on their desktop computers. In order to uphold data literacy, there's also the choice of chart type to consider. With users who have only ever used huge tables and have very limited data literacy, you might want to start off slowly. Give your tables underlying colors first, so-called highlight tables, and then aim higher with underlying bars. Once they can handle that, up your game with bar charts, and then slowly ease them into histograms. For a second measure, combine marginal histograms with a scatter plot. From then on, pretty much anything goes, within reason. You can confront your consumers with bullet charts, Marimekko charts, as mentioned earlier, and whatever chart type answers their questions the best way possible. Furthermore, give your users time. adapt the amount of information that you show in your dashboard to the amount of time that your users have for looking at that dashboard. If at all possible, take the time to explain your dashboard, how to read the charts and how to interact with them. If the insights you are trying to emphasize are not obvious at the first glance, ask yourself whether consumers have the time and patience to search for those insights, or if it's not your task to make them easier to find. Adapt some more if necessary. With time, your users' data literacy will grow. You can infuse your dashboards with interaction, allow them to drill up or drill down, use filters, buttons, tooltips, whatever you would like to have in orders of interactivity. Empower your users to question what they see and to pose questions at the dashboard you present them with. Lead them out of their merely consuming role and into the cycle of visual analytics, from explanatory to exploratory, from reader to writer, and from mere spectator to Olympic runner. In the end, your dashboard is about what story your data has to tell. People don't remember numbers half as well as they remember emotions. So tell the story of your insights in the same way that you want them to be remembered. Know your users' questions. For better understanding and for a fuller picture, add context. Pose leading questions so that your users know what answer to expect from your dashboard. Highlight important data and emphasize connections and possible correlations. However, you can only hand your users the best running shoes possible. In the end, they themselves need to find the will to put them on and run. Thank you, everyone.
That was so great. Thank you so much, Heidi. Now let's see, do we have any questions for Heidi before we roll into our panel discussion? We'll just give a minute or so to get folks the opportunity. Well, Heidi, I think you've done a good job because you've either left them speechless or you've answered all their questions. Thank you so much for coming on and sharing your information. Oh, somebody asked, how do you start with building Viz?
Well, you always start with a question. So people might come to you with a specific question that they have in mind, but it's often not the question that they actually are trying to answer. So people may come to you asking, hey, how do my flight seats look in the past 5 years? But what they actually want to know is not how many seats did we sell in the past 5 years, but should we add more seats in the next 5 years? So yeah, first thing is trying to find out what answer they're looking for and what they're trying to decide based on the dashboard that you're building for them.
All right. Well, thank you so much. You've just been really a great source of information, and we really appreciate it. All right, folks, we are moving right along, and we are on time for our next panel, which I will let Caesar introduce.